CBR fan, we back again for
Oh, we
another
back
week
again.
with Dave D. Uh, how y'all been? I missed y'all over the week. I gotta show y'all something. Um, this is something that Keno's been
I'm
fucking
seeing this for the first time with y'all, by the way.
harassing the fuck about.
What is this? Dear me?
It's, it's fucking deer jerky.
Did you just put dear jerky on
I
your
did the
nose?
deer jerky phone. Look.
The dear jerky phone, bro. Oh, that shit look good though. That shit look good though. I'm gonna put some of that with my expensive cheese, bro.
I'm not sending you any. Fuck you.
Oh damn, that's what it is. What up, Jeffy? Earl, Diddy, this selfish bastard. Y'all see this roll? What up, roll? Tuck,
Yo.
salad. Jeffy, Jeffy, man, damn, that's a lot of meat, dog. What
There's
you
a
mean?
lot of jerky.
I can't get nothing down. You selfish bastard.
Nah, I'm gonna send you some,
I'm
bro. You know I love
gonna buy. I'm gonna buy. I pay for shipping, bro. What kind of deer is this? This the Axis deer or Axon deer, whatever that is?
No, that's off of whitetail.
Okay. What's the difference between whitetail and Axis deer?
Whitetail is bigger, more common.
Well,
Whitetail is bigger, more common. But anyway, we're gonna get back to what we're supposed to be here doing tonight. We got Dave D coming through tonight, and we can't wait to get to it. But we want to
yeah.
uh do some announcements. I don't know if I got any announcements. I'm pretty sure Keno has some announcements or whatever. Uh, but yeah, Keno, you got anything?
Mm, do I got anything to say? Just wanted to say rest in peace to Brian again. Condolences to the family. It was um
R.I.P.
it was a little we said it last week, but it was kind of confirmed yesterday. So rest in peace to him, man, and condolences to the Reptilian, the Barcheck family. Um, our hearts are with y'all during this trying time, man. Fuck cancer.
Yeah, it's a rough time, especially so close to the holidays. Um, but yeah, our hearts go out to their families. Um, got anything else?
Um, that's it, man. The collection is doing fine. Everybody doing fine, man. Master the basics.
Master
That's
the
it.
basics. That's number one. Learn the basics of keeping. Speaking of learn the basics of keeping, I'm gonna say this. It might get around, but I don't really give a fuck at this point in time. But if you are a shitty keeper, don't run around talking shit about the people that sold you an animal. Especially if you have a track record for being a really shitty keeper. We'll get more into it next week. Uh, but yeah. Also, I'm just letting
Hey,
some of
man.
y'all know
I
if y'all
second. I
play
second that.
games, if y'all play games with people that are like really a part of the CBR, the people that know that they are part of the CBR, like don't be surprised if we say something to you about it.
Yeah,
So like that's a part of it too. But
if you accost
we get into
anybody,
these things next week.
if you accost any member of the bar room, we're going to get on your ass. So we'll leave that. We'll
Yeah.
leave that for next week.
This isn't a job. We don't get paid to do this. We do this with our friends and the people we really kick it with. So if you see us talking to people, we actually do know them, and we actually have conversations with them. So you might be messing with somebody that you know. You might instantly have a few people on your ass about. And if you one of those people that take up for people that play games with people that I'm close to, like I might get at you too. But
Get off the
anyway,
track. Get off the tracks when the train comes through. You're gonna get ran
anyway,
over.
I got nothing more really to say. Uh, that situation, I don't have anything to say. I got snakes that I need to put on Morph Market. I'm still too lazy. I was still too lazy in November. I was lazy in October. I was definitely lazy in December. But I will eventually do it. I got one that's really nice that I don't think anybody has really seen. But
Hmm.
I'm just too lazy to do it. But it eventually happened. Um, but besides that, I got nothing. Nothing
What's up,
else really
Alan?
to say. What's up,
Alan.
cousin Alan? What's up, Billy Boy? Who we got? We got Diddy. We got cousin Jockey. We got Salad Tosser. Cousin Earls.
You got everybody.
Chris.
Jeff,
Tuck.
Jeff pulling up. Use a
Yeah,
fool.
man. If y'all in the house, say what up to us. And y'all can roast us a little bit too, man. Y'all ain't been roasting us in a while, man. This is the
Man,
whole little part of the
everybody's scared,
introduction.
man. People
What y'all
scared.
so
I
afraid
think.
to roast us for?
I don't know, man.
Why
You
y'all
know,
listen? Y'all think that we Hollywood or something? Ain't nobody. We ain't Hollywood. We ain't nobody. Uh,
Brian, what's going on, Brian?
what, what's up, Brian? We miss y'all. We miss Marlon
The
coming in with
roast.
his terrible ass jokes. He ain't been here in a while. Uh, what
That's
up,
nothing
Pat?
too. No, he didn't got soft on me. You know, no, he
Yeah.
used to. No, he used to heat us up. You know.
Hey, hey, man. Fuck y'all, man. I've actually had to log back into my laptop, and I saw all this shit that y'all was saying at the end of last week's episode about this dumbass pimp shit that Keto be talking. It's not true. I'm
What's
not
up,
from a
Pat?
family of pimps. Just because there's pimps in my family doesn't that's not that's not how it works. Like that's just not how it works. We don't have there's no they don't pass you no shit down to be a pimp. It's not some shit that's occurring. Stop
I see
listening to
him.
Keno.
I see him have to go into the vault.
The vault of what? What what vault?
There's only a few people in the comments seen Uncle Mon. The essence.
He's not even my actual uncle.
This man
Yeah.
we grew up. You know. All right. Okay. You want to be in denial? All right. Let's gonna show the proof. You know, we're gonna do. You talking about barroom court next week with the wig? We gonna. I'm gonna come with the Uncle Mon. You know. All right.
Listen,
I'm
you
gonna
gonna
come with
put
my
me on the
own
stand
evidence.
too?
I'm gonna come with my own evidence. Bet.
Oh yeah, next
You,
week we gonna have the first ever bar court,
you introduced the
where
acronym
it's gonna be an
Blade.
interactive court. All of y'all are gonna be the jury, and y'all are gonna weigh in on the issue. Uh, uh, Basically about Mr. Keenan Morgan. Um, uh, I'm probably gonna wear a powdered wig. Uh, I've already selected the prosecutor.
If he
It's
don't
gonna be
wear
a
the
good
wig,
time.
I'm pleading the fifth.
Yeah, he said if I don't wear the powder wig, you're not gonna
Let's see
answer
that.
none of the questions.
Pat said, "Let's see the pimp pedigree."
Yo, Pat, don't egg this man on. I don't
He
got no
said he
pimp
got a
pedigree.
long lineage.
It's,
Yeah, it's a
it's not
purple
true,
album,
man.
man. He said it's a purple album.
It's not true. It's not true.
All right, so he want to get the evidence. I'm gonna get the evidence too. I'm gonna get my evidence too. We're gonna hold pimp. We're gonna hold pimp court next week. Blade
No,
court.
because you don't have no evidence of me actually doing anything. I have evidence of you doing shit.
You
Yeah.
said you had you. You said you have no pimps in your family. You don't come from a line of pimps. Simple as that. You just said that less than 5 minutes ago. So
No, I said I do. At the beginning of the episode, I said it's two.
no, no, don't try to cover that shit. Look, wait till next week. Cool.
All
Till
right.
next
Keno's
week.
gonna try to grill me on this whole pimp shit. I'm
I ain't
not a
trying
pimp.
nothing.
Y'all see me. Y'all see me all the time. Do I dress like a pimp? I don't dress like a pimp.
He's
Y'all done
not a
met me.
current pimp. You're not a current. You're
No.
not currently. You're not. I never said you was a current one. So you trying to misconstrue my
Okay,
words. I
so
told you
when was I out here being a pimp?
we'll keep it for next week. We'll keep it for next week.
yo,
I got the
yo, you
evidence.
tell me when I was out here clocking mad
I
no
got the
smoke.
evidence. I was on the phone with your mother in a three-way conversation with you and your mother, and your mother was in denial too. She was, oh, that's my baby innocent, just like every other mother.
Listen, you leave my mother out of this. My mother did not have anything crazy to say to you because my mama know I ain't no pimp. I put you on the phone with my mama just so you can figure this shit out. Listen, we got
She
an
did what
actual guest to
she,
get to.
she did what a loving mother would do. She defended her baby.
Guess to get to. We not going. I'm not entertaining you and this pimp shit tonight.
We'll do it next week. I
We
said
will
next week.
actually get to our actual guest.
We'll do it next week.
What's it? Keno 2 words. Mosaic midget. Oh shit. We gonna talk about that too in the bar court.
I don't know what you're talking about. Did he?
Shut your ass up. Salad. A 90s Seattle pimp. The fuck is a grunge pimp, bro? Anyway, we get to the guest.
Well, yeah, let's bring on the man. You know, when you want to, when you want something blue. Oh, he got the shades too. Yes. From the Lord, he is.
What's
the Lord
going on, Mr. Dave D?
Hey guys,
from your mother.
How you doing tonight?
doing well. How about you?
Good. I hope you didn't hear any of that stuff from the intro.
About you being a pimp?
I'm not a pimp, Dave. Let's not do that, Dave.
Just tune in next week, Dave. Tune in next week.
Let's not do this.
It's gonna be a linen. It's gonna be a linen Tuesday.
You wearing linen?
Yeah, it's gonna be a celebration. We go. You said bar room, right? Chondro Bar Court.
Bar court.
I'm gonna be dressed in my
Dave,
best linen.
Anyway, Dave, we are here to interview you and your amazing accomplishments in the Green Tree Python arena. And we want to talk to you about, first of all, a little bit of your background for those that have not heard it.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
Why you leave? Why you take the shades off?
Because I couldn't see shit.
Dave, you can put your shades back on. You're not gonna read off a teleprompter.
No, he's gonna be like Stevie. He's gonna be like looking all around and shit. We don't need that.
You think you're gonna be like Ray Charles grabbing fat girls by the wrist?
Well, I'll take you way back. So I got interested in snakes when I went on a picnic with my family when we were 3. We went to Red Rocks. I don't know if you guys have heard of Red Rocks, but it's a state park near Denver, and it's a concert venue. But we went there for a picnic, and we went back to the car, and there was a rattlesnake curled up by one of the tires. My dad killed it with a rock. And I don't remember a lot of this, but my parents told me. So after that, my mom made a big stuffed animal snake for me because she was worried that I was going to be afraid of him. And then I started catching them in fields. I got my first snake when I was 6. I had kind of a mishmash of reptiles until I was about 22. And then I sold them. When I was 27, I got a pair, and this was 2011. I got some rough-scaled pythons because I never lost interest in reptiles. I was still lurking on king snake, and I remember you guys were talking about Brian Barczyk earlier. I was watching his videos, the early snake bites videos.
The Chewy getting bit in the face and shit. That shit was hilarious, man.
Yeah, man, I remember that.
So I got the rough-scaled pythons, and then I was trying to learn about them, and I stumbled into the MVF. And at first, when I found it, I couldn't even tell if it was an active site anymore because it always looked outdated with the color scheme and all that. But then I figured out, yeah, there are people actually posting here, and I became a member. And shortly after that, I got my first chondro, and then I got a bunch after that.
Just like 2012, you said?
Yeah, I got my first chondros in 2012.
I remember 2012. That was a good year. So I know where Red Rocks is. I used to live in Colorado Springs for about 2 years.
Okay.
So I know where Red Rocks is. But besides that, do you have like any type of like educational background in animals at all?
No.
I thought you was gonna tell me that you walked back to the car and you grabbed that rattlesnake and took it home and had kept it as a pet.
No, my dad.
I'm about to say, damn. I'm about to say you was a rough ass 3-year-old, man.
Yeah, now my dad smashed his fucking head with a rock. He still has the rattle.
Oh, he kept the trophy?
Yeah. But he's not like that. He likes animals. It's just, I don't know.
He was just more afraid, little kids around and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Well,
Okay.
how'd you stumble into the MVF?
I don't know if it was Google. I'm not sure, but there wasn't a lot of information about rough-scaled pythons, and I knew green tree pythons were their closest relatives, so I must have been Googling and I found it.
Okay. So what was the MVF like when you joined? Because it was still pretty active at that point in time. And who were some of the people that you interacted with?
Mm, I don't know if I interacted with them, but some of the bigger names were John Holland, Greg Stevens, Marshall was on there, Gary, Rico was on there still.
Yeah. Irby, I remember Irby was just
Yeah,
getting into green trees back then.
yeah. Brian, Patrick.
Hmm.
Yeah, Pat came to see
Sa-
you.
Sandro DePinto.
Yep.
So a lot of names. Speedy Gonzalez was around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There aren't too many people left.
So when you got your first green tree, what was it, and how were you keeping back then?
That's kind of funny. I got it from Greg Stevens. It was a female, and she was probably about 18 months old, and she was mostly black. And
Hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar, Travis, with how Greg Stevens kept his collection. Keno might be, but he had these narrow cages that he had built. They were like 16 inches wide and 30 inches tall, and they were kind of deep, but they were pretty narrow. And then they had probably 5 perches from top to
I
bottom.
remember that.
And
Yeah.
he had misting systems in all of them. And then at the bottom on the front, he had holes where they would drain. And then below that, he had gutters like you'd find on your house. So he would just spray the shit out of them a couple times a day. And the water would go in those gutters. So I came up with the ghetto version of that. And that was basically a file box I got from the Container Store. And I kept this snake over water, about an inch of water. And I heated her tub with a ceramic heat emitter.
Okay, I can still hear you. My wife was asking me a question.
No problem. So it was a
Keep
pretty
going.
That's real old school with the ceramic heat emitter.
yeah,
Ryan Young still use them damn things.
yeah.
So why would you say that's funny? How did that snake survive? Did it get yeah, all you need that shit survive. Did how did that snake go? How did it go growing that snake up? How was it?
Well, I remember shortly after I got her, I was holding her, and I don't know if all chondros do this because I don't even pay attention anymore. But I remember I could hear the slightest little click of her breathing, and I freaked out. And I emailed Greg, and he's like, "Oh, I have no idea. She was perfectly fine." I was like, "Oh, it's probably nothing." But back then, I used to think that I would walk into my room and find her dead. And after that, for a year or two, I thought anytime I'd walk in my room, there was a small chance I'd walk in and just see a dead snake. But anyway, there was nothing wrong with her. I think they just make this really faint clicking noise sometimes. Maybe she had something stuck in her nostril. But she did well for about a year and a half, and then she got an abscess. It was near her heart, about a third of the way down her body. There was this lump. And I took her to the Colorado State University Veterinary Teaching Hospital because they're supposed to have really good vets. And they did surgery on her, and she just kind of withered away after that. I think paying a bunch of money to get surgery on a green tree python is just a waste of time, and you're probably prolonging suffering.
That's probably the truth. So with the misting system and how that worked out, uh, how did you adjust to keeping in Colorado's arid climate?
I have had a lot of different types of cages over the year, vision cages, for example. And when I ordered vision cages, I'd order them without any vents and without the heat shrouds for heat lamps. And the only ventilation I had in those cages was the crack between 2 panes of glass. There's like a quarter inch. So to answer your question, I humidify my room, and then I get cages with very little ventilation. And a lot of people talk about the importance of ventilation and how that leads to RIs, but I don't think that leads to RIs. If you think about how we keep Neos, you keep them in a tub. There's not any ventilation in that. There's just a little gap around the whole perimeter. So if you just blow that up in scale for an adult, you don't need a shitload of ventilation. I also don't mist because I have so little ventilation, and I like to not mist because I just think it keeps the cages cleaner. Anytime you have water, bacteria is going to grow and that sort of thing. And I don't want to change a puppy pad just because I dumped water on it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So what do you think? What do you think leads to RIs then?
Viruses. Mostly viruses. People.
Do you think anytime a green tree got an RI, it's probably a underlying virus causing it?
I would say most of the time.
Wow.
People talk about opportunistic bacteria like Pseudomonas and other types of bacteria that these snakes always have, and then the snake gets stressed, and the bacteria takes over. But if you think about humans, when do we get respiratory infections? When do we get sinus infections or pneumonia? It's when we have a cold or something like that. So I think even if you test them and it's not Nido, they might have another type of virus. I remember when I was treating my rough-scaled pythons for RIs, I had a conversation with Scott Stahl, and he's like, "Well, if it comes back, I think it's probably a virus." So I think they understood that there were viruses that caused these illnesses, but it was before Nido had really been discussed widely.
Can I double back to one part? So how do you humidify your room? Do you have a humidifier? What kind?
Yeah, I have a Vornado humidifier. They make room fans, but they make a humidifier. It holds 4 gallons of water, and that lasts me 2 days.
Okay.
I want to double back too, because you mentioned the rough scales a few times. How was it keeping those, and how do you think keeping those helped you transition over to green trees?
Well, I guess that's 2 separate questions. Keeping them was pretty easy. I just had them in 4-foot cages they had shelves in the cages, and then I ordered them from Boafile, and he put the heat panel on the underside of the shelf, which is kind of cool because they could sit under the panel and get overhead basking, or they could sit on top of the shelf and then they'd get belly heat. So that was kind of a cool feature in those cages.
That is pretty neat.
Yeah, they're easy to keep though. They're strong feeders. They were already established. They're more active than green trees. I didn't give them perches, but they seem to like the shelves and they like to hang out in hide boxes. So I don't know how much I learned from keeping them, really, because they're more like carpet pythons than green tree pythons.
Okay.
The babies were a nightmare to feed, but you don't get them to eat the same way you do with the green tree. You don't tease feed them. Scenting and live work pretty well.
So I had a question. Because you talked about puppy pads and viruses. So what's your cleaning regimen like for the adults and the babies?
Well, I give them all water every 5 days, unless they dirty them before that. Lately, I've been using a disinfectant. I'm trying to remember what's in it. If I Google it, I'll remember. It's some kind of acid, and I think it's pretty similar to hydrogen peroxide. And the benefit is when it breaks down, it just breaks down into water. And along with whatever this acid is, and hydrogen peroxide, they have a really short contact time. So they kill whatever in 30 seconds or a minute, whereas things like F10, I think if you read the label, it's like a 5-minute contact time.
Yeah, I thought it was like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it might be 10. And then
Even alcohol is pretty long too.
Yeah.
smells is around.
Yeah, I think it's hypochlorous acid is what it's called. But they sell it on Amazon. There are different sellers, and it's pet safe and all that. So that's what I've been using.
Okay. I haven't heard of that one, but I'll look into that one.
Yeah.
So use puppy pads for substrate. What do you use for the babies?
Paper towels. I keep them sopping wet though. Some people keep them dry, but I've only had one prolapse ever with a baby. So
I was going to ask you about that later.
yeah.
But I'll just ask you about it now. What do you think is the cause of prolapse in neos?
Well, my first guess would be dehydration, and then my second guess would be overfeeding. And then I know Vladimir, when he was running the farm overseas, he found, I think it was a vitamin D deficiency sorry, I was fucking with the cord, move the camera. Vitamin D deficiency in some of the females. And once he started supplementing them, that went away.
Okay. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. You can't keep shoving food in them if they're not taking a dump. I don't keep defecation records for babies, but I do for anything that's eating small adult mice or larger. You can, if you take them off the perch and look at them, you can tell. But if they're perched, sometimes you can't tell whether they need to take a shit. And I can't remember how many times I fed each snake before it's taken a shit. So I think that's pretty important for preventing prolapse in adults.
You don't think it has anything to do with, possibly it could be a genetic issue, or it could be from eating pinkies at all?
Oh, it could be from eating pinkies just because there's no fiber in them. I wouldn't think it's genetic unless you bred two adults, because I've heard people say that, and I don't know how that would work if it's genetic. What they're both heads for blowing their ass out. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, you could like come from a long line of people that got Crohn's disease. I mean, you can.
Yeah, but to have a whole clutch like that, I would probably suspect that it's something to do with incubation more than it being genetic.
He said GTP Crohn's.
Hey, man, I don't know, man. It might be. But you're probably right, Dave.
Have you guys had prolapses in babies?
No.
I've never experienced one in babies. None of the babies I grew up or none of the adults. You know what? I've seen the female adults prolapse when I took them out and put them in the shower, but it's just like it go right back in.
Yeah.
So I guess I haven't had a prolapse that I had to actively treat and all that.
You guys both keep your babies pretty wet?
I keep mine.
Yeah. The second clutch, I kept them over water for a while. So that worked out pretty well.
I just spray twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night.
Yeah. There are probably multiple causes, but I think dehydration would be my first guess.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, I think that combined with being on pinkies too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dave, let's get into, you growing a collection and how you went from growing the collection to when you actually,
Come on, man. I was just about to ask him that. Are you serious?
All right. Well, you want me to just ask the question?
You been doing good.
Voice?
Yes, please. Ask it in my voice. It was like 4 episodes and you wasn't over here looking at my
I'm
paper.
from Chicago. I like to wear my hat all the time. Let me ask you a question. Can you talk about how you went from growing collection to getting your first clutch? Tell me all about that. Yeah, I'm interested in hearing all about that. Yeah, drink some more of this beer. Yeah.
That was a great question.
Petty.
Most of the snakes I bought were changed. So that was one thing I looked for.
See a long line of pimps. Talking about that.
The MVF had a pretty active classified page, so I just kept my eye out there. And then I got a lot of snakes from Brad Johnson of Brass Jungle Arboreals. He owns Sky, and he got a bunch of clutches from Sky. And he was selling one snake. It was mostly green, but it came from Sky. And I was talking to him about that. And at the same time, there was a Cyclops for sale on King Snake from a flipper. I think who ended up having a really bad reputation. I think they got shut down. So I was talking with Brad. I said, "Yeah, I'm thinking about buying this blue Cyclops on King Snake." And he's like, "Oh, you're interested in?" I don't know if he said the good shit or what, but he knew I wanted really nice blue snakes, and he's like, "Oh, I got these." And so I ended up getting some blue snakes from Brad, and I'm glad I did because the blue Cyclops probably would have had mites and died and all that. And then I got, I think, 5 snakes from Marshall, close to 10 snakes from Rico over time, most of which came from the auction, but I got a few before that. And then Christian Stewart from the barn. I got a bunch of snakes from him, a couple from Sandro.
So then even back then you went straight for the heavy hitters though. You weren't playing around.
Yeah, I had a problem.
Man, he said 10, 5, 8, 10, 7 from all these big ass names.
Yeah, I bought a lot of snakes. I still buy snakes. I told my wife multiple times I'm not getting any more snakes, and John Irby and Brian Fisher message each other every day, and I probably told them I'm not going to get any more snakes, and I got 13 snakes this year.
Damn, you sound like Keno when he in the store with his wife buying cheese. I'm only just gonna get one wedge of cheese. I'm not gonna get 15 blocks of cheese. And there he goes walking out the store with 15 blocks of cheese. I'm surprised Keno ain't complaining about constipation all the time.
You like Dave? Do you like cheese? You like eating cheese?
I like cheese. Probably not as much as you. It sounds like you love cheese.
He does.
Look, it's just like, when you know how you get older, you embrace your old man. Like back pain, regular Lays, they taste real good, like the yellow bag, and cheese.
Well, my stomach is getting sensitive as I'm getting old. I can't eat too much dairy.
Yeah. Keno takes a little
lactose
cheese, and he rubs it on his finger, and then he leaves the house so he can sniff it all day.
I'm not a cheese freak, dog. I just like cheese, man. It's old. I just like cheese and crackers.
So how'd you get the animals?
Get a nice charcuterie board.
Charcuterie board. So how'd you get the animals ready to go, established, and cycled for your first pairing? And what was your first pairing?
My first pairing was a blue male from Rico and a Sky Topaz female from Brad. And to be honest, I didn't cycle them a whole lot. I don't know if you listened to Terry Phillips' podcast, but he talked a lot about how you can keep pretty much any snake at 80 degrees. You don't need to cycle them. And I think you can do that, and that's not what I did. I didn't keep her ambient. She had a little bit of a hot spot, but it was pretty close to ambient. She didn't have much night drop, and I got a successful clutch, and I hatched most of them. But I don't think that's the best way to produce green trees.
So what do you think is the best way?
I think
even though you're successful.
I think you need to cycle them to low 70s, and they need a warm hot spot.
Okay. Do you do any food cycling?
I've tried a little. I'm trying to make sense of that because so many people do it different ways. There's got to be one way that's the right way. And I suppose if I had to guess now, it's to not feed them during the winter when they're being paired. That makes the most sense. If the males are going to go off food anyway, then they're probably going to choose to do that in a time when food isn't abundant. But that's not a big part of my cycling routine.
So what made you go back in the lab and switch it up, even though you had so much success in your first clutch?
Because I had shitty results after that. You just have
So your
to.
second clutch, you try to do it the same way?
Yeah, I don't remember what my second clutch was, but I think just over the years, having some bad clutches and looking at people who are being more successful than I was and seeing what they're doing, most people cycle.
Okay. So I had a question for you. Do you have any pairs that you like repeatedly put together that produce the same results, like same numbers, and like the offspring have the same phenotypes?
I don't think I've produced more than one clutch from a pair, just because I breed them for myself primarily, and I don't need more than a couple. So I want to see what else I can make by pairing two other snakes. Unless I would repeat a pairing if I got a small clutch, like 4 or 6 babies, and the ones I got were really nice. And I thought, well, what if I got 15? What would those look like? Maybe I would try it then. But if I got a decent sized clutch, I don't need to try that one again.
Even if you get an animal that say you sell his animal and is of a quality to where you may like, hey, look, I might want to buy that back from you. You wouldn't try to do that pairing again?
Maybe if that happened, but I also hold back snakes for a year at least before I sell them.
You do. You hold the shit out of them. Yeah, I give you that.
So a lot of people don't hold them that long. What makes you hold them for so long?
Just because I want to pick out the ones that I keep, and you can't really tell when they're babies. You can have a good guess, obviously, if they're really dark or if they have reduced pattern or if their dorsal markings are orange or whatever. But that's not a guarantee. You could have a normal red looking baby with white markings, and it could be crazy. So that's why I hold them all back. It's a lot of work though to have a few dozen babies, and they're shitting all the time. So you have to clean their cages, and it's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah. You don't have no kids though, so you lucky.
Yeah,
you get to do. You just like you get that routine every day.
Mm-hmm.
You don't got a little badass kid in the walker running over your pinky toe or nothing.
So do you take care of all the animals by yourself, or do you have somebody come and help you at all?
It's just me.
Would you have a heart attack if you had a yellow Neo pop out?
I had 2 of them.
Really? What was the pairing on those?
It was 50% possible het from Rico. So it wasn't a pure Maruki. She looks like a pure Maruki. And then I bred her to a 66% possible het from Marshall. It's a sibling to his last albino that died.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a similar question to that. Do you feel that yellow or red Neos have a higher chance of producing blue adults? And what are you primarily producing when you get yellow babies?
Well, I only hatched the 2 yellows, and I couldn't get them established. I think that might have been a partho clutch, just because there were some other babies that didn't hatch, and they were also yellow. There were 5 yellow babies, and the odds of that happening, I calculated, are 3%. So just because the male was red, and I actually suspected that he was red dominant, but
Mhm.
I know you can't tell that for sure by looking at them. So they just seemed a little weird. So I think there was a chance it was a Partho clutch. To answer your question about whether red or yellow babies have a better chance of turning blue, I think yellow babies have almost a zero chance of turning blue unless they're hormonal or they're really old.
Okay.
What made you think that clutch was part though? Whether it was like the time in between that the male hadn't been separated from the female or something?
Just because they were all yellow, and it was a really weak clutch.
And you what? So you observe a copulation between the two or no?
Um, I'm not sure. I think so. I actually paired that male again this year to a different female, and this is a female I got from Marshall, and she has laid 2 clutches in the past, and they were 100% fertile. I didn't hatch them all, but they were 100% fertile. And this year she laid 11 slugs on Christmas. So I think oftentimes people are too quick to blame the male because the odds that the male has something going on are pretty low, but he might have something going on.
So, with your collection that you have, and I know that you work with a lot of blue line animals and different designer bloodlines. Have you noticed any like genetic abnormalities or things that repeat that are just kind of odd with some of the offspring?
No, I've heard about that. I've heard for a while people were saying that calico females were infertile because I think no one had hatched a clutch from the calico female. I had 3 clutches in 2022 that were from calico females. Well, let me think here. Actually, no, one of them was from a calico male. 2 of them are from calico females, and they were 100% fertile and 100% hatch. But of course, they had been diluted quite a bit from just being calico junior blood. So, but so that's a common thing that I've heard, that calicos were infertile, and that's kind of gone away. I've heard about blue snakes having weak clutches, but I've also seen people pair 2 locality snakes and all the eggs crash or they hatch one. So I don't know if there's anything to that.
Yeah. You got anything, Kino? In
What
regards to that?
do you think sibs or sib parents may have something to do with that?
With weak babies,
Yeah, like direct siblings, clutch mates breeding.
if they had uh, a deleterious gene, I don't. If they had a recessive gene that caused them to be all fucked up, that's a possibility. That's why it's not a good idea to marry your sister. Um, but there's a lot of that goes on with reptiles, and it doesn't seem to cause any problems. That's how a lot of island populations are founded, because a snake floated, or a couple snakes floated to an island. So I don't know if it's a good idea. I don't think you want to do it generation after generation. But I think people are too quick to blame issues on things like that, um, or the bloodline, like we were talking about before.
Hmm.
It's just an easy excuse. But we're not great at hatching these things all the time. So
That's true. Because shit, if it was that easy, shit, me and Travis talk about that all the time. You will see the shows flooded with them, and it's not.
mhm,
The wild caught animals wouldn't be so expensive. So
mhm.
you're right about that. It's definitely a science that you know that shit. Certain people seem to got got locked down and perfected. You with this blue thing, man. It seems like every year you have a clutch that gets sold, and somebody posting a VV animal that's turning blue.
Yeah, I've had pretty good luck with my blue snakes, especially the ones I got from Brad.
I got a question for you. Do you compare like lineage charts before you breed 2 animals together, or do you just just don't care about it at all?
Yeah, damn it, Travis.
Well, yeah, if they're not siblings, I don't analyze their lineage going back a bunch of generations. I know kind of roughly what's in them. I guess one thing I look for is whether they've been outcrossed. For example, I got some blue snakes from Rico, and they have Manikwari in them. Or I got another snake from him that came from the farm. She's a Cyclops sarong, and I bred her to a blue snake. So now I have some nice outcrossed holdbacks. So I do that level of thought, but I don't need to look at the lineage chart for that. I think I'm unlike a lot of people in that I don't think having the full pedigree is that important. The ones that go back to the 1970s. I bought
Yeah.
a new puppy a couple weeks ago, and I got the AKC paperwork, and they show 3 generations. They show the parents, the grandparents, and the great grandparents, and I think it's kind of a novelty to have the full pedigree and say, wow, look at all that went into producing this snake that I have. But I don't think 4 generations and later has any bearing on what the snake looks like now. I'm mostly interested in what it looks like, what its siblings look like, and what its parents look like.
What kind of puppy was it? What'd you get?
French bulldog.
So I want to get back to
the Frenchies.
how you keep your animals and how you cycle how you cycle now. But do you maintain like a year round night drop or light cycle at all?
Yeah, I use Herpstat 4s, and they have a night drop year round. And then my rooms have windows, so they just get the ambient light. And obviously the days get shorter in the winter, so I guess they're light cycled that way. But that's the only light that they're getting unless I'm in the room, and then I turn on the normal room lights.
Okay. So after your first pairing, once you got it, what did you incubate it at, and how did you establish the babies?
I think I incubated at 87.5, and that's pretty much what I do now. Sometimes I'll do a little lower, a little cooler than that. And then
Was it straight bake?
yeah, I think so. I think it was straight bake. I used small sim boxes back then. It was before they had the big ones. Put them over water. I remember with my first clutch I've ever produced, that was the rough scale pythons, and I thought I had them over water, and I thought they looked dry. And I remember emailing Rico and getting his advice for that. But with the chondros, I just used the small sims and kept them over water.
Okay. So how did you establish the babies, and like what was that clutch like?
There were, I think she laid 15 eggs. I hatched 13 babies. I got 12 of them established. Some of them were pretty easy. I think a few of them were pretty hard. Obviously, I lost the one. I bet if I had that clutch now, I would have gotten that last one established. But I don't think I had too many runners, so that's good, because those are a fucking nightmare. I don't think I assist fed any. I had pretty good luck with chick down, and I remember there was one that wouldn't eat even with the chick down, but when I put a shitload of chick down on it, and it was probably pretty hungry by that point in time, that one flipped the switch. I think that was the last one I got eating. So nothing crazy, but I've definitely improved since then. I don't know if anyone's brought this up, but Buddy Buscemi recommended these tongs that you get off Amazon, and therefore setting up little model train tracks and that sort of thing. So they're really delicate, and they have a really light action. They're great for feeding babies. If I try to use my adult tongs to feed a baby, my fucking hands would cramp up. So if you guys don't have them, you should get those tongs. I can send you a link for them, but they're
Yeah,
like,
you're gonna have to send me the link for that
Yeah,
because I know what
please.
you're talking about with the cramping.
yeah,
That shit was hurt. That shit was hurt
Yeah.
like a must.
You set her all
That little ass
night,
baby, bro.
3-4 hours like this.
Yeah.
yeah. These are sweet. These are a lifesaver, and they're like
Okay.
$12 for 2 of them.
Okay. Yeah, let me know. You got a question from Tuck. What daytime hotspot do you keep on your animals, and what's the night trap you do year round?
The hot spot is about 85, and then I have the hot spot drop to 78 when I'm not cycling, and then if I am cycling, I'll have it drop to 70 or so, which is probably lower than what the room is, so it won't turn on at all.
Okay. So, with that first clutch and the success you had from that first clutch, how long was it before you tried your second? And what was that whole situation like? Experience?
Well, I've hatched chondros every year since 2015, and I know I hatched 38 in 2016. It was multiple clutches though. They had a new blue female from Bushmaster. I think I got 2 babies from that one, so that one was kind of a fucking disaster. Even though most of the eggs were fertile, a lot of them got wet within 24 hours. I've never had that happen before, but they just got wet, and then they made eggs touching them wet. So I only hatched 2 there, and then I had 2 tiger stripe female clutches. One of them I only hatched 3 babies. The other one I think I hatched 7 or 8, and I still have a couple holdback females from that clutch. That's one of my favorite clutches ever. And then I had a blue clutch or 2. So I think that year I had like 5 clutches, but they're all pretty small.
What was the most babies you had in 1 year? 38.
No, in 2012 I hatched 55. Or no, sorry, 2022 I hatched 55.
22. Oh shit, that was just a couple years ago.
Yep. I hatched 9 last year.
That's the life of a chondro breeder.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Bill Hoffman were talking about that earlier because his wife was in the background, and he was like, "Could you imagine trying to support your family on chondro money?" I was just like, "No, absolutely not, absolutely not." Some people, they got the heart to go do it, but I don't trust snakes that much. Me personally, maybe not a good keeper, but I don't trust snakes that much to try to bet my livelihood on them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're inconsistent for sure. And then you don't know what the market's going to do either. Obviously, the last couple of years, the prices have been crazy, but who knows what it's going to be like in a year or two. It seems like a lot of people are buying these things, and most of the people who buy them want to breed them. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, some people want to buy them and breed them almost immediately, like the same month they get them.
Yeah.
No time to acclimate, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
I got a question.
a problem. That's a problem that we have in chondros. People see the money and they see a quick dollar, but they don't take time to be keepers first.
Mm-hmm.
And they see somebody like you or Stiegel, and they just don't realize the work that goes into this shit. The chances you take having a female die during breeding just because shit happens. I don't think people they look at the money and they look at Morph Market and see those high prices and they figure, oh, I can do that. But there's a reason why them prices are high, man. There's a reason why them imports are so high. That ain't easy.
Yeah. Well, it's really changed a lot. Travis, how long have you been keeping chondros?
I've been keeping chondros. I got my first one in 2015. It died, and then I went back to keeping them in 2018.
Okay, so you might have seen this too, but I think Bushmaster used to produce several hundred a year, like
Yeah, I remember that.
pushing 1,000, and now it's fucking nothing. They're just
Zero.
imports, and
There are no babies coming in.
yeah. So that
I
definitely.
remember. I remember when you would get the Bushmaster email, and you couldn't just buy one. You have to buy multiple.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. And you didn't know what it looked like. You didn't know anything. It's just a sheet, and you can buy what's on the sheet. That's what I remember.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ryan Burke lives.
And that was
here.
like I started inquiring. You know Ryan Burke? We love Ryan Burke. You should tell him to come on the show.
Go ahead. I think there's a delay. There might be a delay.
Oh,
I'm
it
trying
might
to
be.
feel.
It might be. But yeah, I think that with Bushmaster, I started getting those emails from him back in like 2013, 2014. No, it was 2013, back when I was deployed, because that's when I started looking into it, and I was just like, how do you pick an animal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just send them your money and hope they send you something good.
Yeah, I remember that.
Ryan Burke made that a lot better though. He made that process a lot better.
Yeah, well, he used
Yeah.
to vend at the local show when I first
So Mike,
got into chondros. I remember going to the
Bro,
local show, and him and Jason Stevens had a corner table, and they had all these little baby imports, but they were captive bred overseas. They weren't yearling wild caught Beox. So
yeah,
they're
those were the animals that Vlad was sending over here.
yeah.
It's the good old days, man.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
saw
after all these
some of
clutches
them
that you,
prices. My fault, Chad. Some of them prices came up in my memories the other day, and I was seeing animals being sold for like $500. Kofi out crosses, Arubiac crosses, red neos, and it was like $550. I was like, damn, just reminiscing, man. Oh wait,
so
that was like, oh wait was crazy. Go ahead, Trav.
I got a question for you, Dave. So with all the clutches that you produce, is there a phenotypical look that you've been going after?
It depends on the parents.
Okay.
Obviously, blue, blue, black, high yellow from red neo adults, and combinations of those colors.
Over the years, is there anything that you have drastically changed about your keeping style, or any small things that you've changed that have had a really significant impact on your collection?
We talked about cycling, so I cycle more than I used to. I feed rats now. I used to only feed mice.
Okay.
It was a cool thing to do to only feed mice. It was really rare for people to feed rats, but I started doing that probably 5 or 6 years ago. I don't feed my females mice at all. I just feed them rats, and I haven't had any issues with the calcification. I know that was a concern. People thought if you feed a female rats, the eggs won't be as well calcified. But I feed them pretty big rats too, small, mediums.
Those are pretty big, usually.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, that's how I feed my females, small pluses they call.
Yeah, where do you get those?
So I got a local person.
Okay,
I'm lucky enough to get. They let me get in on the bulk prices with them. They got a breeder in Wisconsin.
gotcha.
It's pretty consistent. Shit, they drop off bulk orders every Wednesday. So shout out to Andy and his wife, because they always save me a lot of money letting me get in on the bulk orders with y'all. Man, that's a blessing.
Yeah, I know Greg Maxwell got a lot of heat for some of the stuff in his book, and one of those things was related to feeding rats. But I don't think there's anything wrong with feeding your snake a rat. You just can't feed him a rat every week.
Yeah,
That's
I agree. What prompted
I got a question about.
what prompted your switch though?
just other people I know doing it, and just thinking about how absurd it is to feed an adult female mice. It just doesn't make any sense. They could eat something 5 times that big.
That's what I would see. The thing, what made me go
Yeah.
all rats was it was like I heard people feeding like, okay, I was this female, she'll eat 3 or 4 adult, like adult mice or something. I was like, well, shit, why don't you just give her a rat?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? A nice size rat.
yeah,
Keep this space it out instead of 4 or 5 times. That's I don't know. I don't like to disturb female. If I feed her, I like to feed her once and get out the way. I ain't trying to. I don't want no strikes to the face.
yeah. Feed them once and get out the way, and don't worry about it for 3 or 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question about feeding. So, do you streamline feeding? Do you feed them all at the same time, or do you just onesie twosie feed them as it look like they need to be fed?
I keep pretty detailed records. I use my phone here. Husbandry Pro is pretty sweet. So when I'm every couple of days, I'll go through that, and you can just click through, go from snake to snake, and then I'll look at the last few actions, and I'll say, okay, this one ate twice since its last dump, so I'm not going to feed it. Or this one ate once, and it's been this many weeks. And while I'm doing that, I have my computer, and I'll make a list in Excel of the snakes I'm going to feed, and then next to each of their, I have all their. I don't name my snakes, but I know all their identification numbers, and then I'll put down what I need to pull out of the freezer next to their name. So and then I tally all those up. And I look, and it's like, all right, 11 adult mice, 5 small rats, and this many weaned rats. So that's how I do that.
Why don't you name it? Why don't in a Green Street world where everybody name their snakes? Why don't you name yours?
I think it's actually a good thing to do if you're selling their babies, because it makes them a lot more memorable. But I don't know about naming an unchanged baby some fucking crazy name, because it's probably going to turn green and no one's going to give a shit. But yeah, I think it is a good idea to name snakes. I do have one named Blue Cocky because I thought it was funny.
Oh, that's the day we want to talk to. Blue
Cocky Dave. I think we got to dose him at Tinley. We'll leave that for off the show, though. Leave that to man of mystery.
Hey, Dave, you got a question from Anders. His question was, what's your feeding schedule like for a female who is currently breeding? My Cody/Pia female is still locking up with VV1621 here.
I think it depends on what her body weight looks like. If she looks a little light, this is not super helpful. If she looks a little light, I'm going to feed her more. If she looks nice and plump, I'm probably going to stretch it out pretty far and just let her sit there and hopefully develop follicles and breed.
Can't say that, Dave.
This is Blue Cocky.
I got a question for you about the light, because you're not using UVB lights in any of your enclosures from the way it sounds. But what's your feelings about people using UVB to enhance the blue on chondros? Because I've never actually seen this in person, but I've heard people say that they're doing.
I don't. I'm not aware of people doing that with blue line chondros to make them get bluer, but there was a guy who kept a couple of roos. I think he had a page called the Roo Chondro Fan. He didn't last for very long, but he had UV in his cages because I think he was trying to bring out the white as they matured. Not that doesn't seem to work, but he was really excited about how blue they were getting on the tops of their heads and their necks. And everyone in the community is like, "You're fucking burning them. Those are burns."
I
And
remember that.
there are a lot of imports that look like that too, but I haven't heard of anyone keeping blue line snakes and blasting them with UV.
Not blue line snakes, just chondros in general.
Yeah, he's the only example I can think of, but he wasn't doing it on purpose. He just got a little carried away.
I've heard people doing this on purpose.
Okay.
I've heard of this, but I always thought that you run the risk of burning the snake by directly holding a light above them. I think it's okay if you have a light in the cage and it's in the front, not where the chondro is, but just put it in the back directly over the chondro. I think that can cause a burn because who else sits directly under light bulbs that are like 6 inches away from you? Most people don't do that, so I wouldn't think that'd be good for anything.
Yeah.
Skins, but what do I know?
I see the orange women do. They do it a lot.
That's spray on. That's a spray tan, Kino.
I don't know.
Sometimes
Is it
spray
the
tan. Sometimes
is the spray tan?
in the bed.
Is it the spray tan? Is it the orange one or the bronze one?
I think it's orange.
Right. Because I'd be seeing some women with the bronze face looking like Eritrean women.
Eritrean.
But be like bronze face with blonde hair.
Eritrea, the country, is in the Horn of Africa.
Yeah, and they naturally browns there, but then you got
the phonies.
One, come out looking like a
Eritrean and Ethiopian women,
like a tangerine.
Yeah.
So what is
you have lights in your cages, both you guys?
I do. I have shade dwellers in the front of the cages.
I got the LED. It's like 5 watt or 10 watt. The little cheap ones that come with used to come with the PVC cages. I bought a shitload of them and put them in all the LED ones and all the adult cages.
Okay.
So I don't do the UVB.
I don't have a window or a light or anything in my garage, so that's their light source. So
you have black cages?
Yep.
Yeah, if you have black cages, I think you need lights. It's because you can't see anything. Most of my cages are white.
Yeah. All of mine are black, except for in the tubs. I don't put anything in the tubs. I used to put those little under-the-counter lights in there, but that just became a huge pain in the ass. So I just don't. I remember I had asked Pat about putting them in the rack system, but I couldn't quite figure out how the hell that was going to work. So I just realized I was probably being stupid. And just leave them alone. Yeah.
I do. I don't do a 12 on 12 off though. I do 10 on and 14 off.
Okay.
I like to give them.
I do 12 on.
I like to give them a longer period off.
I do 12 on 12 off. When it's not daylight savings time, and once it gets darker, it's 10 on 14 off about. Yeah.
Is it super cold there now, Kino?
Man, it's -7.
Okay. I actually expected worse. That's about what it was here. I know it gets cold as fuck there.
Yeah, so during the winter, I definitely spray the females more. Because, we got the heat running so the damn dry. It's a hair so dry here.
Yeah.
Is everybody having an echo right now?
No, I don't have it. No.
I'm going to back out and come back in.
Okay.
Keep going, Kino.
All right. Yeah, my damn hair is so dry right now. You hear me?
Yeah.
I got an echo too. I can hear myself. But during the winter, I went away.
That's good.
All right, good. So yeah, during the winter, I definitely got to spray my adults more. I don't like spraying the adults a lot either.
Mm-hmm.
But during the winter, I got the warm water bottle working in here. And this year, luckily, I haven't had no stuck shares yet. I usually have a stuck share or two from a male during the winter.
Yeah.
But the females, it seems like the females are less stubborn, and I catch my females drinking water more than my males.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like the males, I don't know, the males just catch the males crawling on the top of the damn cage upside down sometimes. So
Yeah.
they just do what they want to do.
Well, if they're sitting under the panel too, I get the occasional stuck shed, not very often, but the ones that sit under the panels are the ones that are going to get a stuck shed because water vapor is going to move to the cool parts of the cage, which definitely isn't under the heat panel. So it's extra dry there. I don't know how you'd measure the humidity there, but
I don't
that's
even measure humidity anymore.
yeah.
But one thing I did do was I don't know where you have your heat panel set, but I was listening to Irby a few years ago, and the new panels that I've got from Pro Products, I'll put them in the middle. I
Mm-hmm.
don't got them in the corner like the first 5 I had. But these last 4, I put them in the middle. So what I'm seeing from that is I see females, they don't hug one side or the other. I see, especially my females, they move around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be on the sides and the front, halfway, and be like halfway body under the panel, halfway away from it. It's a little something that I stole from Irby, that just seeing a little bit more activity with the females at night,
Yeah, I
not so
might try that.
lackadaisical and shit.
How wide are your cages?
Well, I got cubes and I got so all my black ones are cubes, except 2 of them are they're 24, 18, 16s. But the females are in cubes, and this the white one I got is a 22, 20, 22. It's some odd shit. But I
Okay.
got a male and a female in there, so they all around that same size.
Yeah,
I don't have nothing in a 3-foot cage.
gotcha.
I haven't had a female that big, I don't think.
Well, John's cages are 30 inches wide, so he still has there's a little bit more room on either side of the panel for them to cool off.
Bro.
I keep
Y'all know he
all my
make his own
females
food.
in 2x3x2s, so they're all 3 feet wide for the females. I just moved one
Mm-hmm.
into one of those cages. Uh, I got to be honest with you. I really honestly think that you could keep them all in cubes, uh, but just having females having a bigger cage and the idea of breeding and then putting another male in there, I just give them bigger.
Yeah, I think a little bit more length is good, especially for females. I think it promotes activity, which makes them shit. Because if they're sitting there in a 24-inch cage and the snake is 4 feet long, they might extend their neck a foot or 18 inches or whatever, but they're going to run into a wall, and then there's not a whole lot of reason for them to unwrap their tail and actually crawl around.
True.
Yeah,
I agree.
even
That's
with
why
the
I do.
36-inch cages, though, I got one that never moves.
Yeah.
She never moves.
But see, I try to get the animals at least like once a month too, give them showers. I put them in a shower for like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of make them move around when that water start hitting them. What do you think about? You mentioned the market earlier.
I was gonna ask that
What do you
question
think?
too.
What do you think about people? Me ask Irby this question. What do you think about people selling animals for prices that that warrant that of an animal with some pedigree and some history, being sold with animals that don't really have any?
Um, well, I think there's responsibility on both the buyer and the seller in that case. Um, I think a lot of people who are buying those snakes just see a high price and assume that that makes it a nice snake, or it means it has a high likelihood of turning into an extreme adult. But I don't think that's the case. So that's a responsibility on the part of the buyer. But yeah, I wouldn't feel great selling a snake from two green parents, calling it a designer, and then charging $6,000 for the babies.
Yeah, I call it locale integrity.
Yeah,
He call it, pedigree integrity.
yeah. Well,
I
I
think
think
it's
So
certain animals
I
that
got a
do
question.
warrant that, but you know,
well the adults need to look nice, or the siblings of the adults, or something. You can't say this snake's great 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 grandfather was Mr. Blue, and every other snake that it's related to is green. Who cares?
and that animal should look the same color in any light.
Mm-hmm.
I got a market specific question, Dave.
Okay.
So you sell you sell your animals in a very different way. You sell them on your own website.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what is the reason for doing
What's
it
up,
that way?
Marlon?
And uh, what's your opinion of Morph Market?
My reason for doing that is I think I was inspired by Rico. His website was one of my favorite resources when I got into this, and for the first few years, and I'll look at it on occasion. If you go through Wayback Machine, a
The
lot of
web archive.
yeah, Web Archive. A lot of the images are broken. A lot of the links don't work, so that kind of sucks. But I really liked how he had pictures of the adults, and then sometimes he'd have a link to the PDF pedigree, and then he'd have pictures of the eggs hatching. He'd have pictures of all the neos, and then he'd sell a lot of them when they were babies, but he would have some pictures of them as they were changing and after they were done changing, and just looking at the pictures of the babies and comparing it to how they turned out as juveniles. I thought that was super cool. So that's one thing I wanted to do with my website.
It was so many links to clutches, and then you click on this clutch page, and then there's a link to another clutch that the animal came from. The next thing you know, you're going down the damn Rico rabbit hole of links.
Yeah, it was like Wikipedia kind of. There were a lot of hidden pages.
So what's your opinion
So
of Morph Market?
It's okay. I've sold a few snakes through there. My opinion of the site as a whole, I think it's kind of overly complicated. They keep trying to come up with all these new bells and whistles that don't really add that much value. I think the timing was a big factor for their success, just because Facebook cracked down on animal sales and Morph Market was already built, so everyone just went over there. But I have sold some snakes there. It's a quality website. I think it's overly complicated, but the price is fair. What do you think about it? You trying to get me to shit on it?
No, I actually use Morph Market. I'm just asking because you have your own website.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I'm asking. I have no problem with Morph Market.
actually,
I don't want to have a conversation with Derry and the guy that runs Morph Market to ask him complicated questions. That's not me.
Yeah.
I actually appreciate the way you put your animals out in the email,
Mm-hmm.
because when you do that, you get people access to buy animals blindly. So I can buy this animal in the world and never know. And see, I like the stuff like that because I like coming out of my sleeve with it. You know, I don't like buying my animals that hit more market. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, real uncircumcised like.
That doesn't make any sense.
He said he likes to come out of his sleeve with it.
Oh, I see.
This guy right here, man. Look. This is like,
Oh man.
Well, the main
But no,
reason
that
I do
is
the,
interesting.
I do the email blast
Nobody
because
else really.
Go ahead, Dave.
I get
Why you
I
do
get a lot of
email?
I get a lot of emails asking about what I have available, and I just I don't always have things available, and it's really hard to send one picture to this person and one picture to that person and promise that you'll reach out to someone when you have something available, because by the time you have something available, their circumstances may have changed. So that's why I do the email blast. It's just more efficient.
You do it early too. You a sneaky mother because you do it super early in the morning.
No, I think I usually do it in the evening.
Nah,
No?
I didn't. Nah, because I usually go to work at like 5 a.m. So I punch in, then I go do nothing for like the first 30 minutes, and I check my email, and it'd be like 17 minutes ago, vibrant varieties. So I'd be like, oh, let me go see.
Huh.
Then what happens usually is I click the email, I see a really nice ass snake, and then I back out of the email, and then I click in again, and it's gone.
Well, I'll give you a head start next time.
I would appreciate that.
I'll give you a heads up.
So,
Especially from the wrong Cyclops, so the Rico stuff. That would have been nice.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead,
so Dave, what's your standard for an established Neo before you sell it? Because you say that you're waiting for them to become. You keep them for a year, so your standard is different from a lot of other people's standards. So by the time they're actually yearlings. So
Mm-hmm.
is there anything that you want these Neos to be able to do before you send them out? And like, do you check them or anything like that, or nido test at all?
Yeah, I nido test them before I list them for sale. And as far as other criteria, I want them to be sight feeding, so they'll just grab the mouse without being touched. I see feeding videos of people feeding adults, and they're just like waking it up with the mouse on the tongs and touching it. You don't have to do that with most chondros unless you get them in the habit of doing that. That doesn't really answer your question, but yeah, I want them to be sight feeding because I feel like that means they're more likely to take off for the new keeper too. Just have a strong feeding response.
Okay. Tuck has a question for you again. What's your plans for breeding this season? Are you trying to beat your 2022 record?
Well, my first clutch was slugs, so that was pretty sweet. I have a female.
That's pretty sweet.
I have a female right now who's probably going to lay on Thursday or Friday, and she's looking pretty big. So she's either going to lay a nice size clutch or she's going to lay about 80 slugs. So that'll be a good one. And then I have some other females after that. So I'd like to get 3 or so clutches, but we'll see how it pans out. My females are going a little late this year, but some of them seem to be developing.
Not the female you said you were soaking, the one that's going to lay Thursday, Friday?
Yep. She's she's from TSK. She's from Splash, a Splash bred to a Biak. And I bred her to a male I produced in 2018. And he is from Prince Lucy male, bred to my Tiger Stripe female. And he actually, I don't know if you ever saw the pictures, but he swallowed a paper towel when he was a yearling.
I remember that story.
Yeah, 2 select-size sheets, swallowed them. I remembered hearing that Marshall had a similar experience, so I messaged Marshall and asked how he sorted it out, and he said, I just squeezed it out kind of like a tube of toothpaste. And I also had a conversation with a vet, and she told me she thought the snake would pass it, and I thought, there's no fucking way. You have no clue what you're talking about. There's no way it's gonna shit it out. So I got my wife to help me, and we tried to squeeze the paper towel out of this snake like a tube of toothpaste. And I don't know how Marshall did it. Maybe it was because my snake ate 2 select size sheets, but I couldn't get it out. But we fucked with him enough that the next day he had puked it up, so that was nice.
He's still living, going strong for you.
Yeah,
That's
yep,
good.
and hopefully he's gonna sire a clutch pretty soon and pass on that strong feeding response.
Good. Good. Hey, I don't know if you know. Do you know Tuck at all, Dave?
I know he was on the MVF. I don't think we've messaged a lot. Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Well,
So our resident ball guy.
I'm just gonna tell you this. You and Tuck look very similar, except for you have hair and he doesn't have hair. Like you
don't know
look
what I'm
like
hiding
the
under the
Neiman Marcus. You like the Neiman Marcus version of Tuck, or Tuck looks like the Great Value version of Dave D.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I know you was having a good day today, Tuck, but I can't let you have a good day today. Fuck you, Tuck.
Yeah. I bet he's flattered too. You complimented both of us at once. This is one.
He's not. he's definitely not.
Kevin, you are an asshole.
Yeah. So, Dave, you got such a unique, history with breeding designer chondros. My question to you at this point in time is are there any bloodlines that you want to get a hold of that you haven't?
Some mosaic stuff would be cool to mix in with calico and other stuff.
Yeah.
Lemon tree stuff would be cool. That's pretty much gone.
It's my favorite, man.
I don't know, people. A lot of going back to what you asked earlier about lines having problems. I don't think there's probably anything wrong with the lemon trees. If you looked at the females that people kept and were trying to breed, they were way overfed. Their tails look like blood python tails. They were probably 2,000 grams. And then just if you think about
that was the days of people trying to get them up to 2,000 grams. Yep.
Yeah, they were enormous. And then if you just think about if you guys each produce a clutch of babies, how many people, let's say you each produce 12 babies, how many people do you think are going to produce clutches from those babies? It's not very many. So when you start out with just a handful of lemon trees, it's hard to get a line established that way, It doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong with the snake.
So then that seems logical. I agree with that on the females, but why do you think the males are infertile? Do you think the same reason, making them just trying to stuff and make them huge?
Yeah, I think they were probably overfed too, and just your odds of breeding chondros.
True.
Aren't great.
Yeah. So give us for the people who don't know, what do you know your history about the tiger stripe?
Rico hatched the first tiger stripes in 2004, I believe. And he called them tiger stripes because the babies had long black markings.
Laterally, yep, all down the side.
Yeah, laterally. It really had nothing to do with their adult appearance. And I believe they were There was some P&G in them. I think it was P&G, Sarong, and Biak for the most part. I'd have to check the pedigree to be sure, but it was a mix of different things. And he ended up with a female from that clutch. Her ID was SH04095, and she was mostly yellow. And at that time, she was one of the first mostly yellow snakes that came from a red baby. And then he bred her in 2009 and 2010. And those were the three founding tiger stripe clutches, the original clutch that she came from. And I consider her basically the founder, and then her two clutches. And I had a female from each clutch. I still have the female from the 2010 clutch. She is kind of an orangish hue, and she's been a good breeder. I think I've had 3 or 4 clutches from her.
So these the patterns that Rico saw that led him to name that tiger stripe. Are you seeing that consistently when you in your tiger stripe offspring as well?
No, I haven't, and I don't think he had it in his 2009 and 10 clutches either. He just had it in the original clutch. Mine are really dark, and part of that has to do with the males that I bred her to. And the one that I have was a really dark baby too.
So, how do you adjust to, keeping so many animals? Like you have adults, and you have neos. Like, how do you adjust your schedule to maintaining this many animals?
Well, you just have to be regimented. So I take care of babies first thing in the morning, and then I'll take care of the other ones after that. And like I said, I keep detailed records, so that's pretty important. We talked about feeding rats. That the perk of that is you don't have to feed as frequently because you're feeding them bigger meals.
Yeah.
I don't mist like we also talked about, so that's one less thing I have to worry about. And one thing I forgot to mention is I give them pretty large water bowls, so there's a lot of surface area to evaporate and keep their cages pretty humid, because I do think humidity is extremely important.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah.
Huge water bowls. Yep.
Yeah, I just chip away at it every day. I probably spend 2 or 3 hours taking care of snakes.
Yeah, I'm trying to cut that time down. Marlon,
It's soothing though.
has a question
It's
for you.
soothing though, man. When you go in there and spend 2 hours, it's soothing.
Yeah, but like at like 2 hours on a day when I get home at a decent time and I don't have other stuff to do and like other phone calls to make. Yeah, like it's good on those days, and like Saturdays is great because Saturdays and Sundays are great because I can spend 3, 4, 5 hours in there, and I love that. But like during the week, sometimes it's hard getting the time, and you got kids. And my daughter's just like, "Hey, can you take me to ride my bike before the sun goes down?"
Blade work, pumping nerve. It's a long week. I understand.
Listen, there's no blade work going on. The blade work, if it occurred, it would only occur at night, and I'm in the bed when the hose is walking. So,
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys about that. What's the blade?
What is the blade, Travis?
It's just wherever prostitutes are hanging out, like a stroll. Just like a street where you see a bunch of prostitutes.
That's a blade?
So, yeah, you call it a blade.
Oh, okay. I thought it was drug related, maybe.
Nah, it's just a bunch of hoes. It's just a bunch of hoes.
It's a Memphis thing, Dave. You wouldn't understand.
It's a Memphis thing?
No, it's a national thing. It's a pretty national thing.
It started in Memphis, though.
It probably did start in Memphis.
Travis, he introduced that to the Chondro Bar Room lexicon. I think a couple, 3, 4 months ago.
Nah, it was a while ago.
You put that on us. You put the blade on us.
I didn't put the blade on y'all. That's because Randy wanted to go look it up.
We didn't know what that was.
You knew what it was. You knew what it was. You definitely knew what it was. Marlon wants to know about SSBB11 crazy times Snowflake.
Yeah, I don't have her anymore. She got egg bound a couple years ago, but she's probably my favorite chondro. Got her from Christian Stewart. Her father's obviously crazy. He was a sibling to Blue Deuce, and their mother was the Tim Morris Blue female, who also sired Mr. Blue, but with a different male.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember exactly what Snowflake was. I think she was a blue line and Highland Cross. She was blue line and something. She had a little bit of yellow, but when they bred crazy to Snowflake, they got some really nice stuff. Christian has a female called Blondie that looks quite a bit like my female, just high yellow with a lot of black actually.
Did you see what Brian?
That's your friend. He's not. We don't know Brian like that. We know Brian, but we don't know him like that. He's talking to you, Dave.
Have you, Dave? Have you,
You don't have to answer that question. You're a man with pride and dignity.
have you
North.
had any accidents where the bowels have moved without you expecting?
I was on another podcast and I asked that question, so he's trying to get back at me.
Oh yeah, you asked them that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then Marlon asked if she ever produced for me.
Good night, Earls.
Yeah, I got a clutch from her. That's Blue Cocky's. That Blue Cocky came from her. So in 2019, I got a clutch from her. Hatched 10 babies, and I kept a male and a female. And the male actually looks quite a bit like her, except without the blue head. But he's mostly yellow, surprisingly.
And you know, Dave, for you say you not to be a lineage nerd. You sure is fitting them lineages.
Well, I only care about a few generations, though. I don't go back to the end of time, the beginning of time.
Yeah.
We getting time. You don't care about the first. You don't care about the first captive breeding in Dallas Zoo.
Just a little bit.
Dave, I'm a nerd, man. I like that kind of stuff, man.
Marlon wanted his ID number if you have it.
It is 1906. And
Blue Cocky, right?
No, the male sibling of Blue Cocky, I think, is what he's asking about. And there is a picture of him on my Instagram page from a while ago.
And Tuck has a question. Great Value Dave D has a question. For the Calico babies in 2022, how are those progressing in OCC?
They're coming along. A lot of variety. The first clutch had some. There's one that's mostly yellow. There are a few that are mostly black. And there are two that are pretty freaky looking. They're still red and orange primarily. And they turned 2 10 days ago, and they're pretty big. I'm feeding them adult mice, and I'm feeding them pretty frequently. So there are a couple freaks in that clutch. And then and one of the other ones was Tiger Stripe, bred to Splash Biak male. And there are some nice ones in that clutch too. They're mostly yellow with black speckles and orange dots and that sort of thing. So some of them are looking pretty nice.
You think that might retain that at all?
The orange coloration?
Yeah.
Probably not because we've never seen that before, but they're weird looking.
You talking about the Tiger Stripe time Splash Biak?
No, it's from a mail I got from Chris Haight. So it was from Shade.
Shade.
Yeah, Shade bred to 05188, produced a snake called Black Rob. And then he bred Black Rob to a female called Poppy Jr. So those are the parents of the male. And then I bred them to Calico and Blue Line female I got from Rolo. And she laid 19 eggs, and they all hatched. That was my biggest clutch ever, and one of my few 100% hatches. And a couple of her babies retained some orange and red so far. But
okay.
What was the Mac line animals?
So John Mack sold a lot of snakes through Rico. If you looked at Rico's old website, there was a little link at the bottom. I think it said Mac, and it would take you to this whole different page that looked just like Rico's site, but it was just John Mack animals. And I don't have a lot of that stuff. I have a mail that was given to me by a guy who I think he's out of it. He was local here in Denver, and his name was Warren Mitchell, and he hatched a clutch. So I have a male from that, and he looks kind of mustardy, but he has nice black markings on his dorsal. And then John Irby got Mac female from Rico in the auctions, and I have one of her offspring that I bought from John. But yeah, John Mack had I don't know the name of his business, but he's one of the largest producers of captive bred reptiles in the world. They're one of the suppliers of Petco and PetSmart from what and he dabbled in chondros for a while, and I guess he sold them through Rico, or at least some of them.
I don't remember that link, but I remember the name.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll still work. He had some weird looking shit though. It was different than a lot of stuff we see now. Just different color palette.
Because I think I can attribute that to a lot of the OGs and the people who first got in. They had access to those P&G animals.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I think those were the elixir for some really nice shit back in the day. You know.
Yeah.
I'm on your thing. I'm trying to pull up this one animal. Go ahead.
Tuck, he says, did your female from Sandro Insanity times Aquaboy /6 ever produce for you?
No, I haven't got any offspring from her. She did lay a clutch a year or two ago, and they were mostly infertile, and I think the fertile ones that she did crashed. I tried breeding her this year, but nothing locked up with her. But she was 2013, and she is mostly black. She's one of the blackest adult females that I've seen, but unfortunately I haven't got any offspring from her.
And she's still black as an adult. That's crazy.
Yeah, she's pretty dark. She's 75, 80% black. She's 11 years old.
Wow.
She on your page?
Yeah, she is. She's on my website. An old picture of her on my website. But that picture doesn't capture how black she really is. I'll have to get an updated picture of her.
I see it.
How often do you update your website?
Yeah, this is her right here, I think, right? This is her?
Yep. She's a lot blacker than that. I don't know if she gained black.
Like me.
Yeah. Travis, you asked how often I update it.
Yeah.
I haven't updated it much the last few years.
Okay.
I update the clutches page when I get new clutches or when they've changed and I want to post updates. But I need to update the collection page. It's way out of date.
Your super blue animals that you have, what's the earliest you starting to see them go straight to blue from red?
Probably 10 months.
Damn, that's fast.
Yeah, some of them change early.
And yours, the super blues that you've gotten, do they start with typical, go pink, and then the head goes blue first, then the body?
I've had some turn pink. I've had some just where the blue comes in directly on the red. So I've seen it both ways. Yeah, I have one that went red to pink to silver to blue. I think the ones that turn pink normally turn kind of a silvery blue first. And I don't know if I'd consider those super blues. I try not to use the word super blue just because it's pretty imprecise. And it's just something for people to argue about. But
Why?
I think people argue about it because it's not well defined. Or you were talking about people.
No. Why don't you use the super blue and shit? You one of the few people that's consistently doing it.
Yeah. Well, I think if you post pictures of it changing, people can just look. It doesn't matter what you call it. They can look at the pictures and say, "Oh, this thing turned blue right away."
I think you do a good job of documenting your yearlings because there's been a couple of people who got, you see the yearling, you see a baby picture, then 3 years later you see the animal, and it's a little weird. It's a little weird looking.
Yeah, I'd say overall the people in the chondro community could do a better job of taking decent pictures. If you look at ball pythons that are for sale on Morph Market, they're using a real camera. They have good lighting. If all your pictures are in the shade, then you have to wonder why. You can't bust out a cell phone and take it into the shade or on a cloudy day. That's just not how cameras work.
Well,
Blue Kaki's brother,
that's
Golden
been a
Tower.
topic of discussion. That's been a topic of discussion that I've heard for about a year now about lighting. So could you tell us about how you take pictures?
Sure. Yeah, it's been a topic for a long time. Even on the MVF, people were buying blue snakes and then posting pictures. And they would say, "This is a picture from the for sale ad, and this is what it actually looks like." And there was fighting about that. So it's been a thing for a long time. As far as how I take snakes, I use a Sony, and I'm currently using a ring flash, and I have what's called a color checker. So after I take a picture of my snake, I don't change the lighting at all. I take a picture of this color checker, and it's basically a grid of all these different colors. And then I import the picture of the snake and the picture of the color checker into Lightroom, and I run a profile. So I select the image of the color checker, and I run a profile, and the computer knows what that color checker is supposed to look like, what each little square, what precise shade it's going to be, and then it adjusts that picture. And then I apply those same settings to the picture of the snake. And that's how I don't know if it's perfect, but I don't know of a better way to get color accurate pictures. I imagine that's what product sellers would do. If you buy a green shirt online, you don't want it to look blue or vice versa. So basically what we need to do is product photography. We want to accurately represent the snakes that we're selling, and you need to put a little bit of effort into that, especially if you're selling them for a lot of money. And you should post reasonable pictures of the adults. If you're selling snakes from black parents, the pictures of the parents should be recent because a lot of black snakes lose black over time. So you can't use a picture of that snake when it was 2 years old. If it's 7 years old now and it lost all that black, it's just dishonest.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I got to be honest with you. I don't know enough about photography to do any of that.
I appreciate the time you take to do that.
Yeah.
Because
I just don't mess with the
one thing
colors
I've heard,
after I take the picture.
one thing I've heard from people who buy animals from Dave D is, oh man, this animal is more blue in person than it looked like it was on his site. I've heard that more times than not.
Yeah.
And I've heard the opposite from people, from other people.
Well, yeah, that's what you want to hear. You want people to be happier, not pissed off when they receive a snake. And Travis, I didn't know much about photography either. It really isn't that complicated. If you like, I could walk you through it. Once you get the setup dialed in, I take 2 pictures of each snake max. It's not like I'm taking 50 and picking the best one. All the settings are dialed in. I can't take a picture of a landscape or art or whatever to save my life, but in my basement, I can take a picture of a snake and it's going to look good every time because I have the camera dialed in.
Yeah, for me, I just take them out in the driveway underneath the sun and take pictures of them.
Yeah,
because in my garage, it wouldn't look normal. It wouldn't look normal. It wouldn't look like how they actually look. Like that's why I don't take pictures of them while they're in the cage, because they don't look the same way they look in the sun.
Yeah. Well, and it depends on what you're selling.
Or share it too.
If you're selling babies, it really doesn't matter because they're red. But you should have accurate pictures of the adults, especially if you're claiming that they're going to be high blue or something like that. That's what's driving the value is the coloration of the adults, so they should be accurately represented.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Amen.
Hey, Dave, we got like 7 minutes left. So you got anything you want to talk about? Any topics we didn't go over?
I don't think so. Well, what do you guys got going on this season? Got a bunch of shit paired up? Kino, you trying to breed a bunch of Cyclops, or is that a secret?
No, it's not a secret. This year I'm focused on the Cyclops. I would like to get 2 pair of Cyclops this year. That's my goal. So I had 1 female ovulate, and at the end of this month, I'm gonna put the male in with the other female.
Uh-huh.
The first clutch I fucked up a couple years ago. There'll be a repeat, and I want to do a Frankenstein project. And then I have this animal Jamaica from the Black Pearl line from John Leckie. I want to do something with that, and then I think I want to make a purchase this year.
So you're trying 4 clutches, 4 pairs, and seeing what you get.
3. I'm gonna do 3 for sure. I'm gonna do 3.
Okay.
For sure. I'm gonna do 2. I'm gonna try to do two Cyclops pairs, and then in the Frankenstein clutch will be this Maroke Biak male that I got a couple years ago, or about 3-4 years ago from Ryan. I got him as a baby. He was dark chocolate baby, and he kind of like he got some yellow on him. Nice yellow, nice amount of white scales down his back. So I want to do something. I want to Frankenstein him to one of my Cyclops. Do some weird, strange stuff.
Cool. How about you, Travis?
I got a clutch in the incubator. The repeat of my Sarang Biak baby. Sarang Biak clutch. So I'm trying to repeat that clutch. Kino's got one of the babies, Lemon Blade, from the first one.
Lemon Blade.
Yeah, he named the snake Lemon Blade. He's got one of the yellow babies.
Was the female a Biak or was the female Sarong?
The female was Sarong and the male was Biak. But the yellow babies actually ended up looking better than the red babies. The yellow babies, they're mostly yellow. with some green scales.
Okay.
Um, so that, and I'm trying to go for 2 more clutches. We'll see how it goes. I took the semester off from school this semester, so I got a little bit of time. I don't go back to school until March. So
Snake,
yeah,
eggs, and pimping.
so just wait for that. You said eggs and pimping. That's what you think. Nah, we'll see how this season goes. But yeah, I think that I'll for sure get another after this one. I think I can at least get 2. I don't know if I'm gonna get 3 this season, but I'm going for 3. So
30,
You're-
see how
30
that
eggs each.
What was that?
goes.
I've
You
been wishing 30 egg clutches on him.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. How big your Sarong clutch last year was pretty big, wasn't it?
yeah, 26 eggs.
How
Yeah.
about this year? Same?
No, so that one is actually paired up with a red sarong right now. So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with that one. So, if we get a clutch, if I get 30 eggs, I'm literally gonna fly in O'Hare Airport and come and punch Keno in the face. If I get 30 fucking eggs. I swear I'll
Violence
punch
is not the answer, my brother.
it. Well, stop wishing evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Yeah, we'll see about that one. But I don't know. I'm actually not in a rush. Like, contrary to popular belief or the idea that everyone thinks you're supposed to breed everything and get all the eggs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to live my life like that. I got little kids, so I don't have time to take care of a lot of babies. And I think a lot of it comes from, people think it's easy. It's just like it's not easy establishing neos. It's not easy cleaning up
Especially
after
with a
neos all
newborn.
the time.
Especially with a
And if you
newborn
want them to
baby. It
stay
was rough.
healthy, yeah, if you want the neos to stay healthy, like you got to clean up after them a lot. You got to keep tabs on them a lot. Um, so yeah, I got one. If I only get one, I'm cool. But we'll see how it goes.
Well, I think it's cool you guys are doing locality clutches because that shit just isn't available anymore. And I could see it shooting way up in value just because if people get a sarong and they get, an Aru and they breed, the pure stuff's going to be gone. So it's cool that you're doing pure sarongs and you're trying for pure Cyclops Keno.
I definitely got the what's name though. I got some designer stuff too.
Yeah.
It's just me. I kind of stayed away from the blue stuff
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to be the guy that buys something for like 6,000 and turn green. So I'm picky. I'm picky. I'll be honest. I'm holding. I would like to pay if I'm going to pay that money. I would like to be a true representative of what the pedigree is. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So keep sending them emails.
Okay.
Dave, are you in the I'll be remiss if I didn't ask you this before you left. Are you into how do you feel about midgets?
Midgets?
Yes.
Yeah, leave this man alone.
Little people.
How do you feel about them?
Has
I
a
think they
sexual
are. I think
deviancy
they're a
for
necessary.
midget women
I
with
think
fat
they're
booties
necessary. They're
that
necessary.
twerk on Instagram.
I
Did you
think
say
they're
necessary evil?
No, not
Yeah.
evil. They're necessary for the world. Yeah, I think I think women of all sizes and shapes they should be loved.
Uh-huh.
Listen, if Keno sees a midget in public, he is probably immediately gonna cut a hole in his pocket. He's gonna find a quiet corner.
I
He's
just
gonna do
want to
whatever he
see.
does.
I just want to see a midget adult entertainer for the first time, Dave. That's all. That's it.
Oh, we could probably arrange that for you.
See,
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about. Dave, we got to get together.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
that's doable.
My guy. See, Dave, we going to, all right, bet. It's going to be a midget affair. We're going to get it cracking.
I can't believe Travis hasn't arranged that for you from his
I
hair.
want no. Listen, I got this thing about midgets, right? And I know it's irrational, but I think that their arms is way too short to wipe their butt real good. So I'm not into midgets, and I stay away from it. I know that's probably a fucked up thing to say.
They got little bodies.
That's
though.
the reason.
It's not like they got a long body. Their arms are proportional with the rest of their body, so they can.
I think they use
No,
this.
it's not. Their arms is like this. Their arms is like this. You never see straight ass midget arms. What the
But they
fuck
got
you
little
talking
bodies
about?
though. They got little bodies.
They have little
Travis,
reacher
please.
sticks.
They probably do got little reacher sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Thank God that we don't have sponsors.
It's like the gas pedal. It's like the extensions on the gas pedal and the brakes. Same thing.
Yeah.
See, Trav?
Ridiculous.
You know? Shout out
I'm
to
not
my
listening to you.
my rubber nubs out there.
As I pick out all this deer meat from my teeth.
Yeah, you're getting ready for bed. You're set. Flossing.
Make
Yeah, you gotta
Make sure
find
Keno
the
don't get
white
none of this.
beater.
I wore the white beater out for you today. I did it just for you.
You ain't do it for me. Nah.
Yes, I did.
You got the chest hairs on display for the
Keno
women at the Chondro Bar Room.
There are no women at a Chondro Bar Room.
Okay.
There are none. It's just us and
Yeah,
Dee
two
Dee and Noel.
You got two figures now. That's crazy. Fucking math.
Keno thinks it's odd for me to wear wife beaters in the comfort of my own home, like it's a crime of some sort.
I don't think it's odd.
It's just a shirt.
He's got
It's not-
sunglasses on and it's 11 there.
It's not. Yeah. It's not like I walk around my house in lavender colored gator boots. I don't do that.
But they ostrich skin.
But anyway, Dave, we appreciate you for coming on. You got any shout outs that you want to get off before you get out of here?
I think I'm good.
You want to shout out your wife? Nobody?
Yeah, I'll shout out the wife. Shout out to my wife. She has been pretty tolerant. Shout out to my parents too. They've fostered my interest in reptiles my whole life. They always ask me how things are going with the snakes. And shout out to my non-snake friends. I don't know if other people have this situation, but they're generally interested in the snakes too, even though it's not their passion. I don't have any friends who are like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're weird." So nice to be supported by people.
My whole family tells me that.
That you're weird.
Yes. you guys,
not because
that's the reason why. Before that, I was fine. Well,
okay.
That's a lie. I ain't gonna lie. They thought I was something wrong with me before that.
Yeah.
I think the snakes might have taken it to another level. How's the wife dealing with that? How is that? Because over here I hear a lot of, "Oh, you care about these snakes more than me."
I hear that same
all
thing
that
too.
all that shit. So
Go talk to
how
your
does that
fucking
go?
snake friend.
Yeah, she doesn't complain, but we are building a new house. I had to take over a lot of space in our basement here, and the snakes are going to have a dedicated area after we move. So she's pretty happy about that.
Good. My wife wanted me to move all the snakes out to the garage, so I did that. Yeah. And she was just like, "Where's my car gonna go?" It's like, I did what you told me to do. I did what you told me to do.
I know. I remember I told my girl that one of my snakes looked miserable. She had eggs in it, and she was like, "You never told me I looked miserable when I had the baby." Why would I tell you look miserable? You trying to just get me shot? Shoot myself, huh?
I'm supposed to tell you. You're supposed to tell your wife that she's glowing when she's pregnant,
She
and
wanted me to tell
she
her
doesn't look
she looked
sweaty.
miserable. Miserable. I ain't fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Just like that wife approved stripper party with the midgets.
I didn't do that. So Dave, look, about 4 years ago, she offered to throw me a Super Bowl party, and she was like, I'm gonna get some midget strippers to come in here and serve you, you and your friends. I was like, no, I'm smarter than that. See, I'm smarter than that, Dave. If I
Serve
get
you
some midget
what?
strippers, like the hors d'oeuvres, during just walk around with the hors d'oeuvres on the platter.
Uh-huh.
I'm smarter than that, though. See, if I get some midget strippers, it's gonna be for somebody else's bachelor party. Don't set me up.
Yeah.
Who else is getting married around here?
You
No, I'm already married. I've been married for
got
10
to,
years.
no, but you're gonna renew your vows, and then you're gonna have another bachelor party.
Listen,
And you know what I'm paying for.
listen, your money is no good here.
She cannot
Your
be
money is
taller
no
than
good here.
4'10".
All right. Dave, we appreciate you for coming on. We got to get Keto off the air before he starts lusting over these digital airwaves about these midgets he's in love with. But we really appreciate you for coming on and all this knowledge you actually imparted on us. And
For sure.
good luck this breeding season.
Yeah, same to you guys. Hope you guys
Yeah.
have good luck, and I really appreciate the invite. I like your show
Nah.
quite a bit. I'm glad
Hey,
You kept it all the way. You kept it all the way real, Dave. We really do appreciate you spending, carving out a couple hours for us.
Yeah, no problem.
Dave, we'll bring you back on if you want to come back.
We've been trying to like expand our serial killer roster, and I think this is
Dave
this
D.
is a
Don't let
big
this man tell you none of this.
this is a big feather in our cap right here.
You think I have that look? Have that serial killer look?
I mean, you don't got no kids. You live in Colorado in the wilderness.
Right. Well, you better be nice to me then, Keno.
I will. Look, I don't want to get unalive by Dave D. I'd rather get very nice emails that I can respond to.
We can make that happen.
Fucking stupid. Anyway, thank y'all for coming to the Chondro Bar Room. Dave D, we appreciate you. You're always welcome to come back.
I appreciate it.
But that's been us for the Chondro Bar Room. That's been us for the Chondro Bar Room tonight.
Spirit,
y'all
I'm
have
sorry,
a good night.
Chris. Yeah. Till next week. Thanks again, Dave.